Either this is gonna go awesome, or it can go a million other ways. You know what you gotta do? You gotta yell it with me. Can I get a clear prop? Hello and welcome to a very special edition of Jimmy's World, because today is do or die time. We're taking this airplane outside and we're gonna try to fire it up. If this does work, if these fire up, then there is hope for mankind that we will be able to get this airplane in the air and flying, maybe not too long of a time from now. Sun and fun. I don't know about that. That would be a huge boost of confidence. It is one step forward and like two steps back. You'll also notice, if you've been watching this series for any length of time, yes, you've seen some connections and some repairs that you're like, hey, that's not, how all this. We're doing that on purpose right now because they're temporary. And I know the old saying is it's a temporary to permanent solution. In airplane world, temporary is temporary, because my butt's gonna be in that thing flying one day, hopefully. And I don't want to have temporary repairs out on this thing and something happen. Wire connections, here, come here, you can take a look. There's a perfect example. See this, what we got right here? This is called temporary because we're just trying to find the pump and the sending unit and the lights to make sure they work. And then we got a little bit of heat shrink on it, just zip tied on there for the run up. Assuming that everything works for like this system, then we'll be taking those off, putting the permanent connections on there, heat shrink and the whole bit, all cleaned up. So don't you worry. I think I'm more nervous. Yes, I am more nervous right now than I was when I found this airplane 9 months ago. If you'll go with me on memory lane, I looked on Craigslist. No, it was Facebook Marketplace. That's what it was. Facebook Marketplace, and Pablo was on there in all of its glory for 20,000 bucks is what the guy was asking. Now, not in this many pieces, it was all together. He said it should be able to fly and stuff like that. That may have been optimistic at best. Anyway, I called the guy and he said, yeah, I've got that plane. I've also got two other airplanes, a Cessna 310 and a Bonanza. Went up there, me and Mini-Me, who's behind the camera here. Thank you, Silas, appreciate you. Got old Thomas the motorhome, drove up there, made a deal with the guy. I paid 30,000 bucks for all three airplanes. I basically bought it all for parts. I didn't know if there was ever any hope for these things. He wouldn't let me start them. He wouldn't let me touch them, nothing. He wouldn't even let me take the engine cover off of this one, so I never even got to see the engine on this one until after I bought them. The Bonanza was first. I was blown away that stinking thing even started up because it was totally trashed out. Unfortunately, that plane was so far rotted and corroded out, no hope for that. We did part that out. I sold it for $3,000 to a parts place, so 30,000 minus 3, I'm into these for 27. Pablo here, after I learned about a hidden switch, that thing started up no problem, and it ran good. All the systems worked, the radios turned on, and it's actually in really good condition. I was shocked. And I would have flown it out of there, except some FAA paperwork. So the story goes, there was a lawyer that owned it, and this guy that had this airplane bought it from him, but he never registered it. So the lawyer was like, hey, are you ever gonna register it? And the guy's like, maybe. And the lawyer said, well, forget this, I'm not waiting on you. And he sent in paperwork to the FAA saying that he parted it out, but it was never parted out. So the only way to be able to fly that airplane, even on a temporary permit or anything, is you have to put the entire thing back together, and it has to be inspected by an FAA inspector to be deemed airworthy and get a brand new airworthiness certificate as though it was built again. That process literally can take years with the government. Who knew how fast the government works? But because of legal paperwork reasons, we couldn't fly it out. That's really frustrating. Then it brings us to Mighty Mouse. He owned this airplane since 1975. He got his multi-engine rating in the airplane. In 1982, he was coming down, and then there was a car crossing short final. There's a road at the end of the runway. The left gear hit the car, went down, wing down, hit that engine. It took him 2 years to go through the engines, new props, to fix all the wing damage, all that stuff. And then in 1984, he flew it one time and then put it back in the barn and closed the door, and that's where it sat until yours truly, for better or worse, decided to pull it out of the barn. The engine started up. I mean, there was no editing to that startup or whatever. It was unbelievable. We literally just put gas in it, put a battery on it, and it fired right up within 2 blades. I was shocked, still am kind of shocked. It ran like crap though. After all that, we took it apart, we put it on a trailer, we took it 1,000 miles back here to Florida, we got it mostly back together. What we're doing today is going to start these up. What I'm looking for is to see the condition of the engines, because I was not able, we weren't able to run it well enough back in Pennsylvania because it didn't run all that great. So honestly, I couldn't tell if the engines themselves would be good to go. If these engines run solid and strong, then there's hope. If they don't run well, we got to take a step back and reevaluate. In a perfect world, we would have a budget in the hundreds of thousands of dollars. We would strip the entire airplane down. We would replace every single nut and bolt, cable, wire, every gasket, seal, everything. That is the only really truly way to do this airplane right. Because we're dealing with 70-year-old wire, we're dealing with 40-year-old rubber seals on this thing. The landing gear, that hasn't been exercised in 40 years other than us manually bringing it up and putting it down. The list of things that can go wrong on this is like this long. So we're still a long ways away from being able to call this thing a winner and in the air. So we'll get there. One little thing at a time.
You're good on John.
With the white yellow cup.
Like the bag part.
Got it. Keep on going. Clear here.
I'll trade you.
Baby what?
All right, what you're gonna do is clean that oil up. And I know what you're thinking out there. Why is that thing leaking so much oil? Because it's a radial engine. The only radials that don't leak oil are the ones that are out of oil. That's normal. It's like a Ford. Oh, that's terrible. Somebody's not gonna leave some hate mail for that.
Pour it all over. I'll try to get it all over the oil.
Over here on the concrete?
Yeah. There you go. Okay, now let me get you a couple. Excuse me. Get your.
Silas.
Yeah.
It's just like about every other night at dinner when you spill your drink.
Seriously?
You know how to do this. You got your old hat.
Don't use your feet. Get on here. There's a pad around here. Grab one of the pads over there. Get on your knees and just start mopping it up. It builds character.
Yeah, that's right. Why save the 310? Why are we doing what we're doing? I love aviation. It is a superpower to be able to like time travel almost. You start from here, and what would normally be a 19-hour drive, you can do in this airplane. Well, not this airplane right now, but one that flies, will only take like 3 hours of flying. It makes the world shrink and opens up so many more doors that before I got into airplanes, I never in my wildest imagination thought about. The other thing is just the pure joy of flying. You know, I've never flown this airplane, but take the Lance Air or any of the other ones. I mean, oh my gosh, to be able to just go through the air and just go like this, it's like you own your own infinite roller coaster. It is so much fun. And to be able to look down and you get perspective on the world that you can't get any other way, and to fly over some mountains and to see the terrain, to see cities, how they're laid out from the air is just amazing. And one of my favorites is flying at night, especially on the 4th of July. To see the fireworks from the top down, oh my gosh, it's just like sparkles everywhere. Aviation has forever changed my life. And that is really the whole purpose of this channel, is to share the passion of aviation with the rest of the world, knowing how all this stuff works together to overcome physics and things like that. To me, that's just fascinating on my engineering, mechanical side of my brain. The pure joy of flying and getting to do that stuff. If you're an older pilot or a newer pilot, you know what I'm talking about if you've ever had the opportunity to fly in one of these. Saving the 310 is not about an old chunk of metal. It is about man versus machine. What we can do when we put our minds and our talents and skills together. And I mean, you know, there's a lot of channels out there that are like, hey, will it run and drive after 40 years? Yeah, well, fly that car 2 miles in the air at 200 miles an hour after you pull it out of a barn. Now you can get some mad respect. So this is a whole different level of what could go wrong. I don't like that I said that. We'll edit that part out.
I'd read to the coil.
What we got going on here?
I can't get it to stop grounding, but we're probably reading through the magneto coil, so we'll probably have to pull the wires off, then ground it.
Makes
Do you
sense.
agree?
Agree.
Mr. Electrical Engineer?
Mr. Electrical, Mechanical.
Hey guys, this is Sparky, from Sparky World, and you are watching Sparky World.
He'll get that eventually.
You're not Sparky, so this isn't your world.
This is Sparky, and this is Sparky's World. Now you're in it.
There it is. Nailed it.
Boom.
Well done. Okay.
Yep.
Do you have the RPM pickup for this side?
Yes.
Out here?
Yeah.
Yep, I see 3 cut wires.
Oh, good. Very good. Yeah, okay. Very good.
This is the connector that was cut off of that one. I mean, any professional knows that you wrap it in electrical tape, each individual wire, because the insulation's broken, and then you wrap all those in more electrical tape, and then you just cut it. That's all sarcasm for those out there that don't know my sense of humor. So if I was an evil villain, I would make all the wires the same color and not label them. That's what I would do. There's one.
Okay. This is critical information
Yeah.
that I was missing.
Yeah. Welcome to this entire build.
So they cut the magneto wires off at a connector, and it's not a hard connector to get off. I mean, there's so much room to spin it off, and there's no way to make it work. So what I'm gonna do is get my magic wire stretcher out, and we are going to make this longer, and I have a magic splicer too that splices shielded cable.
A lot of magic.
Yeah,
He's the magic man.
magic man. Hey Neil,
Yes.
can you hit the right magneto switch? Up?
That it?
No.
It might It'll.
Is it under ignition?
Yes.
Yep. And they're all on.
All 4 of those are on?
Yep. That's full throttle.
Definitely, probably not the correct wires connected to each other, so we're gonna have to move them around.
Bus. So what are you looking for?
That's what all these tests are for, because we don't know if these carbs are any good. The carbs are off of another airplane, basically junkyard carbs, so we don't know how well they work or not. They were supposed to have come off of an airplane that was flying 6 months before we got them, and I've had them for a few months, so less than a year ago. These, and they look really super clean, and we checked them. Go again.
Did it come off the stop?
Idle cut off.
Idle cut off.
Is that as far, is it all the way back on the?
It's all the way back on the panel.
Okay, is there adjustment in there we can make to it?
That's not going to affect out here too much.
All four?
Hey, don't forget to tune in to Jimmy's World on Sundays and Wednesdays at 2 p.m. Eastern Time so you can have more excitement like this.
Yep.
Full rich. Cut off.
Do that again. Yep.
You're back in the trailer?
No. Diagnosing.
Oh, it's got a jet engine on it. I mean, come on. How cool is that? Go from very modern, about as modern as you can get, back to the 1955 310. It's made out of granite and you work on it with chisels. That's that. This is different ends of the aerospace spectrum. Watch the wing over there, the steerman.
Yeah, we're clear.
We're clear back here. All right, what's the bet?
So the bet, I feel like this is going to fire first start.
That's pretty optimistic.
That is very optimistic, but I'm confident in our abilities.
I bet Grizzly a Chick-fil-A lunch. This does not start first.
Okay, so the bet is the first crank, like the first time we have fuel and we throw the levers and let this sucker whirl, or just before we have to like start diagnosing something?
Before we have to start diagnosing something.
Okay. All right, what do you guys think? Here's the bet. Do you think it's going to start first time away? You know, it might take a couple of cranks or stuff like that, but before we have to stop and then come out and figure out what might not be working. That's the bet. I will take that bet on the, and I will say we will have to diagnose. I'm not gonna go that far. I'm gonna we'll have to diagnose one system. That's what I'm gonna bet. So give us a thumbs up if you think it's gonna start first time around, or if we're gonna continue our futile pursuit of aviation.
Slide right into place.
All right, everybody. You know what you gotta do. You gotta yell it with me. On the count of 3. 1, 2, 3. Can I get a clear prop? wasn't so hard.
The feeling this side is pilot air.
It might be flooding.
It smells flooded.
Yeah, that's what I was worried about, is it flooding.
Yeah, but it never even coughed or sputtered or anything. So
Yeah. That didn't run too bad.
I was impressed. It didn't even smoke.
Yeah, that's what I was really shocked by, because when we first started it in Pennsylvania, it smoked like a freight train, man. It was a mosquito fogger.
Just for double check, you want me to pull these pea weeds off and make sure it's not grounded?
Oh, are you?
Here, hang on. Let's see if I flooded it. Ew, that's like thick oil.
Oh, yeah.
So you want to work on airplanes, huh?
Hey,
Avionics.
my part's done. It works,
That's true.
I think.
Oh, what is it? That is just pure motor oil. Yeah, look how thick this is. Look at this. That's oil. That's what that is. That's just oil. I really am surprised that other one ran so well. That other engine.
I'm not. I mean,
Pleasantly surprised.
here, Sparky, this is your task. You have to take this and hold it against your tongue.
Yeah.
Very good. Can we light a cigarette with it?
Yeah, that's all good.
Welcome to Sparky's World. Silas isn't recording, but I'm talking anyway.
It's hi, welcome to Jimmy's World. My name is Jimmy, and this is my world, and now you are in it. Thank you so much.
Hi, welcome to Sparky's World. This is Sparky, and now you're in my world. Thank you so much.
What do you think? Yeah, you'll get there. Here we go. Clear, bro.
I just tried it to kick over.
Desperate times call for desperate measures. Time to get some wake-up juice. It prolongs starter life. Starting fluid. Let's go. Just a little bit. That's all you need. A smidge of the morning juice. Stand clear. Alright. We ain't need to figure out that one. Well, 1 out of 2 ain't bad. See another profit. Clear?
Clear.
Liked it. Hit it again. Clear. That's right in here. Yes.
Clear.
started, I wouldn't fly it like that, but it started and we made noise. We have some tough choices in front of us. Dad needs a lot of work. Yeah. I mean, at the absolute bare minimum, a lot of adjusting. A whole bunch of adjusting. 40 years that thing's been sitting.
Yeah.
And we didn't even get it warm enough to do a compression check on it. So, well, we got it started though. I say,
Bar?
pretty much, yeah.
Some Miller High Life for everyone.
Yeah, boom! Bam!
Celebrate with the champagne of beers.
1982 done called. Once it's belt back. That's why, because I wore my shirt, clear prop, which you guys should get one down below. Go buy yourself something. Celebrate. I'm both excited and kind of sad at the same time. I'm excited because we got it to start and made some noise, but I'm bummed because
That's a whole laundry list of things we gotta look at.
it really didn't make any difference from what we knew in Pennsylvania. After looking at this, we have the wiring that's old and busted and crusted. We have engines that sat for 40 years before I started them the first time, and then we got some newer parts on there to fire them up. And yes, we still left some of the older stuff on there, but I was just trying to get a basic baseline condition on those engines before we really dug into them. And if I'm honest, if other people are gonna fly in this plane, if I'm gonna take my family in this airplane, we really should tear those engines down and at least do an IRAN inspection on them to make sure. And an IRAN inspection is a inspection, replace as necessary parts. So we're gonna tear everything apart, look at everything, measure stuff, make sure it's not pitted, rusted, inspect, replace all the seals, because we know those are gonna leak like crazy. Make sure all the rings, all that stuff. Frankly, while we do have it together, there's no way on earth I would ever frankly, even myself, there's no way I'm flying this airplane for a while with the condition that it's in. The work is just now beginning.
Sun and fun's kind of out of the question.
Yeah, so making Sun and Fun, I mean, unless we put it on a trailer, I don't think it's gonna fly to Sun and Fun.
Your helicopter idea.
That's true. We could get an airlift, air crane, because it's not that far from here. You know what we need? What would fix this?
LS motors.
Yes, that would definitely do it. The tail number is all wrong. 4875 Bravo? That's lame. We gotta find a cool tail number. Put in the comments below, what would be the most perfect tail number for this airplane? I wanna see what you guys can come up with, because I've got some ideas, but we'll just throw it out to you. Put in the comment section below what tail number we should put on this and change it to. Maybe that's what it is. It just needs a tail number. It's a very aerodynamic design. It doesn't have the tail on it right now. Just minor details. Well, hey, my name is Jimmy. That's the crew, Sparky and Grizzly and Neil. And Silas is behind the camera. My name is Jimmy. See you next time.